SharePoint Insights with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, so because we know SharePoint is more than 2 decades old, and again, there is various content that everyone has got into the SharePoint, and when we have the explorability or when we have the options from Copilot, why not use SharePoint as a data source from where we'll be able to generate more reusable kind of components using those copilots or using those agents. All right, so our entire session will be focusing on how what are the various ways in which we will be able to use the SharePoint as a data source for creating our Microsoft 365 copilots as well as the agents. All right, so with that, let's continue. Hopefully that sets the context. And before we start the session, quick introduction. Myself, Nandadeep Nasan. I'm from Pune, India. I'm Microsoft MVP for M365 Apps and Services, as well as AI. And then, as well as I'm Microsoft Certified Trainer, author of these 3 books, including SharePoint Framework, SharePoint Hybrid, and Viva Connections. At the same time, for example, if you want to get in touch with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or maybe follow my blogs or YouTube, please go ahead, give me a nudge, and then more than happy to collaborate with you. And with me today is Smita.
Hello all, myself Smita Nathan. I am from Pune, India. I am working as a SharePoint architect. I am having total 16 plus years of experience in Microsoft technology. I'm a Microsoft MVP as well as author of these 2 books. These are some of my social handlers by which you can get in touch with me.
All right, so with that, let's get into the agenda. Firstly, we will understand what is the importance of having SharePoint as a data source because we have been using SharePoint for more than 2 decades. Every organization has got huge content which is onto the SharePoint. Even the statistics shows that even on a daily basis there is a more and more content which is available onto the SharePoint. So obviously we will be able to surface that information onto our agents. It does by default, but specifically what we are going to focus in this session is that we're going to see how we can use SharePoint as agents, which is a newly added functionality for surfacing your SharePoint content in a very simplistic way. Secondly, we are going to use the programmatic way of declarative agents for SharePoint using the Microsoft Teams toolkit. And again, we are going to go into the low code, no code platform of Microsoft Copilot Studio for SharePoint agents with documents. So, for example, if you have some content into the document, how we will be able to use that to surface into the Copilot or into those agents. And then for example, if you have got some information into the list, which is a structured format, how we will be able to surface that one as well. Unfortunately, we were unable to prepare the demo for how you can also surface the information from Microsoft AI Foundry into the Microsoft Copilot Studio, but we will just give you some kind of pointers on that, and definitely it works. All right, so with that, let's get started and see why we should use SharePoint as a data source. What is the significance that it carries?
So let's start with a simple question. Why do so many organizations rely on a SharePoint for the content management as well as for the collaboration? So the answer is quite simple here. So the SharePoint is a robust as well as a secure and enterprise ready platform that helps the organizations to manage, store and utilize their data effectively. But what make it such a great data source for the solutions like a Copilot Studio? So let's see for that one. So in the screen, on the screen, you can see there are the 4 pointers over here. So let's discuss one by one. So the first thing is the SharePoint is a preferred content management solution. So the SharePoint has been the backbone of the content management for the organizations of all sizes across the industry. So whether it's a document, list, or a structured data, the SharePoint provides a centralized repository where the businesses can securely store and manage their content. So it integrates seamlessly with Microsoft 365 applications, ensuring that the employees can access the information they need without switching between the multiple systems. So when we talk about these modern AI powered solutions like a Copilot Studio, the quality and accessibility of the data plays a crucial role. So, since many organizations already use a SharePoint as their content hub, it becomes an ideal data source for driving the intelligent workflows as well as the automation. The second main point, it helps the organizations to collect the information in one place. So it's one of the biggest challenges business face today is information fragmentation. So the data is often scattered across the different applications, file storage systems, and email threads. So the SharePoint solves this challenge by allowing organizations to collect and structure their data in one centralized location. So imagine a scenario where an enterprise wants to implement an AI powered knowledge assistant. So instead of having an employee search for these files across the different repositories, they can leverage the SharePoint as a single source of truth. So this ensures that the information retrieval is the faster, more efficient, and the AI driven solutions can pull the insights from a well organized knowledge base. The third point, it ensures the data security as well as the protection. So now one of the major concerns organizations have when utilizing the AI tools is the security. So the sensitive business data, whether it's a legal documents, financial records, or a confidential communications, needs to remain protected. So the good news over here is a SharePoint built with enterprise grade security, compliance, as well as with the governance features. So when used as a data source with the Copilot Studio, it ensures that the permissions and the security policies remains intact. So the Copilot Studio respects the existing security settings, ensures that only authorized users can access a specific pieces of information, which means that whenever you are using AI powered chatbots, copilot driven workflows, or the automation scripts, you can be assured that the data security is never compromised. And fourth one, and the most important, is that it unlocks the advanced search capabilities with this Copilot Studio. Okay, so the lastly, this true power of using the SharePoint as a data source lies in indexing. So when data stored in a SharePoint is indexed, AI-driven solutions like a Copilot Studio can perform the advanced searches across the entire SharePoint ecosystem. So think of it like this. Instead of employees manually searching through the folders as well as from the documents, the Copilot Studio can surface the relevant content within a seconds. So whether it's answering a query, generating a report, or as well as assisting with the decision making, this integration ensures that the businesses can unlock the new levels of efficiency. Some of the final thoughts and summary over here. SharePoint is not just a content management tool, it's a powerful data source that can be enhanced these AI driven solutions with its ability to centralize the information, ensure the security, and provide a seamless indexing. So it become a perfect fit for the modern AI workflows. So as we move towards a future where the AI and automation play a bigger role in our daily work, leveraging the platform like a SharePoint will be crucial in maximizing the productivity as well as the efficiency. So now let's go ahead and see for the SharePoint agents. So the every SharePoint sites comes with this Copilot, and you need a minimum edit permission. So whoever is having a edit permission can create a Copilot from the SharePoint in a few clicks. So you can just share your custom Copilot within the teams, as well as you can just go to this team group conversation over there. Also you can share it the integration with this Copilot Studio also. So let's go ahead and check for that one.
All right, so with that, let's get into the demo and see how we will be able to create a copilot with very easy to follow kind of steps. So this is our SharePoint site, and in this SharePoint site, we do have, okay, let me just zoom in a bit. All right, so we do have one document library called as travel brochures. So this is the library wherein we have information about various brochures that we have got. So for example, we do have brochures to each of the city wherein probably any of the travel company works into. For example, Margate Travels is the company which runs their business into Dubai, Las Vegas, London, New York, and many other cities. And they have created one-page brochure for every city wherein they operate. So let's say, for example, if I just simply open up this Dubai brochure, here you can see that it has got a simple information about the Dubai, like what Dubai is famous for and everything. And again, these are the hotels where this Margate Travel Company operates into. Similarly, the other pages or other PDF files are related to that. So now that when we want to surface this information into the Copilot and want to get it used, this is pretty much simple. So what you can do simply is that you can use the Copilot kind of an functionality. So here you can simply go into the Copilot, and then from here you will be able to create a agent. Okay, so at the top here you can see that all of the agents which are available. So from here you can see that we just have got one Copilot demo, but again from here you will be able to create an agent, and again those agents can be used to surface the information. Okay, so let us see like how you can create the agent. So at the top, we have got create an agent kind of an functionality. But before I go into that, for example, for those who have created their agents previously using Copilot Studio, the process is bit longer that we open up the Copilot Studio, like copilot.microsoft.com. We create our agent, we name that agent, and then we go for case adding the SharePoint site as a knowledge source there. So it is although it is a very simple step, but it is a long, kind of a step. But now that, for example, if I say to you that in spite of doing that, you can quickly create your agents right within the SharePoint site, then yes, it is true. So let's say, for example, we want to create an agent. I will just click on create an agent. That's it, and our agent will be ready. Okay. So here you can see that right now this agent will be working onto my entire travel brochures SharePoint document library, or even I can go ahead and we can choose the file. So let's say, for example, if I just only choose these two files, I click create agent, you can see that only these two files are listed here. So maybe let's do one thing. We will not go with selective, but we will rather go with the entire document library. We will select this entire document library to be a part of our agent, and that's it. We will go ahead and click open agent, and that's it. Our agent is pretty much ready now within just one click. We did not write any code, we did not put in anything there, no configurations, just one click, create an agent, and that's it. Our agent is ready. All right. So now that, for example, if I ask this agent like let me just zoom it out. um, let me just ask like suggest me hotels in Dubai, and let us see how does it work. So let us go ahead, run this, and at the same time here you can see that few of the prompts which are available here as well. So far we have not done anything, no configurations, just that one click of create an agent, and that's it. And from here you can see that it was able to give us the result. And one quick question, like how you can relate that this particular information is coming from our data source, which is a RAG pattern that we have built, because here we do have got something called as a citation, and this citation reference to the Dubai brochure, which is the file that we have added here. Okay, so that's the reason we can confirm that this is the information which is coming from our SharePoint site. Okay, so that is pretty much easy. Like just in one click, we are able to create the agent. But the story doesn't end here. Let's say, for example, if we come out of that, here you can see that this is the agent file that got created here. Dot agent file. For example, if you download this file and try to open that, this is nothing but a declarative agent. So now that again we are coming to this word called as declarative agent. So there is a difference between the imperative agents versus the declarative agents. So the imperative agents are like the agents wherein we create a path for agent, like how they should behave, or at least how they should be able to process the information, a flow, a structured flow kind of a thing. So that is those are the agents that we used to build in the past. We used to call them as an imperative agent. Now that we are into the world of declarative agents, where we just declare our prompt like what we want to do, and that's it. We leave it the entire processing abilities to the agent, that they can do their AI thinking on top of it and give us the result. And that is what it is doing here right now. So for example, if I just open up this agent, this is where you will be able to see that agent as well. And again, from here we'll be able to go ahead and edit this as well. So let's say we want to edit this particular agent. So this is where the customizations will come through. So even if you just go with one click, it will help create your first agent. But now that if you want, you can give it some different name by giving the name here. Even you can add some icon here to represent that this is your customized agent. Give it some kind of a description instead of just this is an agent which is curated based on something like this. Maybe give it some kind of an description, and then it will be able to give you the information. So here you need to describe the purpose of this particular agent. At the top, for example, if you see here, we do have few of the things like we do have some pre-built kind of an responses. If you want to change those, even those can be done. So for that, let us come to the sources part. So here, from here, you can see that the first source that we had selected here was the travel brochures from our SharePoint site. That is what we are able to see here. At the same time, for example, if you want to add more information to it by adding the document libraries or folders or file, you will be able to do that from this option. Now that once you are happy with that, you can go to the behavior. But before that, one thing to note that you will be able to add up to 20 sources for any agent. Okay, so now that when you go to the behavior part, this is where the things get more interesting. You get some more control. Here you can select the welcome kind of a message. So this is the message which will be shown when your agent will be shown to the user. So let's say we will say like welcome to Margate Travel Agent. Okay. So this is the only thing, and now you can see that this has been reflected here as we have typed. So this is the user interface which is being shown to our users. Second thing, here we do have the starter prompts. So starter prompts will help your users to use your agent. So for example, if they are not aware of what kind of an capabilities this particular agent carries, in that case, you can give them some kind of a starter prompts, which will be shown something like this, and then they will be able to use that. So let's say, for example, here we say like, suggest me hotels in Dubai. So this is our first prompt. And as soon as we do that, here you can see that this is the prompt which is available for our users to interact with this agent. The other good thing here is that we do have the instruction for the agent which defines the entire behavior or formulate the entire behavior for your agent. So here you can see that we have the default instruction like provide accurate information about content in the selected file and reply in a formal tone. Instead of that, for example, let us make it fancy and we will just make it like reply in a rhyme format or maybe just a rhyme, and that's it. We will just save this. Now that once we save that, what will happen is that we will be able to see that experience. Okay, so let me just go back. Let me just close it out, and then from here at the top we do have this agent, and then from this agent we should have our agent, which is right now only visible to me because I'm the one who has created this travel brochure agent, so that is available here. So we'll just open up that, and here you can see that we do have welcome to Market Travel Agent, and this is the first behavior or this first prompt or the suggestions that we had given. So that's the reason once we click this typing will be done for us. We just need to send this prompt, and since we have baked in the behavior or given the instruction to this agent saying that it should respond to us, but it should respond in a rhymic way. So probably I will not read it out because I'm not a good singer, but at least here you can see that it has tried to create a rhyme kind of a thing with gleam and dream kind of a wording, right? So this is the experience that we will be able to get without writing any kind of an code. The other thing that you can see that this is the agent file that we have got here, and this agent is right now only available to me. So what we can do here is obviously we can go here and we can share this. As soon as we do this sharing, we will be able to share this particular agent to our teams. So let's say, for example, even from here, we'll be able to send it on Teams. So we can make this agent as a part of our Teams conversation. So you can just use the @ for the travel processor agent, and then you can ask the questions. Those things can be done very easily. Second thing that we have got here is the set as approved. So for example, when we will click set as approved and when we will set this as an approved agent, this particular agent will be available to everyone who is using this SharePoint site, because right now it is just inside of this uh, folder which is here, which is only available to me. But as soon as we set it as an approved agent, what happens is like when any of the user who will come to this SharePoint site, when they will open up the Copilot menu at the top, they will be able to see it as an approved kind of an Copilot. Okay, I will have to refresh this, and then we should be able to see that as an approved Copilot agent. And from here you can see that it is no more here. So where our Copilot gone is the other question. So to do that, or just to check where those copilots are, you can go into the site contents. So there is a site assets library. So in the site assets library, you should be able to see that particular copilot. Okay, so if you go to the copilots, in the approved copilots, this is the copilot that we had. So now that this one is a approved copilot, which we will be able to, or everyone who has got access onto the SharePoint side will be able to use that. Another thing, like let's say for example, if you just open this up and then try to edit this, few things which are coming up there is like we do have this option to add advanced customization in Copilot Studio, which is again yet to be function. It is still coming soon, but again, this will give you more flexibility so that you will be able to customize this this customize this agent that we have created with the Copilot Studio. Okay, so for example, this is just the declarative agent, but again, for example, if you want to do the magic of those declarative plus imperative, you will be able to do that from here. Again, here you can see that the location has been changed. So right now, this agent has been stored into the approved slash the agent file, which is nothing but our site assets. So this is a very simplistic way in which you will be able to create your Copilot. Okay, so for example, if you just have the basic licenses and you want to create a Copilot, if you do not have the Microsoft Copilot Studio with you, in that case, this is one of the options that you can go ahead and start creating your Copilots. All right, so now that, for example, for all of the developers who are out there, what are the other customizations options that we have got? So we have got declarative agents for everything, but specifically for the SharePoint.
So these declarative agents are AI-driven assistants that operate based on what needs to be done rather than how to do it. Okay, so let's say about these declarative agents. So declarative agents are definitely a game changer in the way we design and interact with the AI-powered co-pilots. So imperative versus the declarative approach, as Nadeep already mentioned about this imperative approach, that is that traditionally when we build a software or the AI system, we follow an imperative approach. That means we can explicitly define how a system should perform a task step by step. Think of this like writing a recipe. Each instruction must be followed in a strict sequence. When it's come to the declarative approach, so on the other hand, the declarative approaches is focuses on defining what needs to be done rather than how to do this. So instead of micromanaging every step, we specify the desired outcome and let the system determines the best to achieve them. So when we apply this concept to AI, especially within the Microsoft ecosystem, we unlock the powerful automation capabilities without the complex coding. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the demo.
All right, so this is the demo that we're going to show you. But before that, a few kind of fun facts like when we compare creating the declarative agents versus cooking the instant noodles. So maybe I can claim that creating the declarative agents are more faster than cooking the instant agent. So this is the recipe that we suggest. Maybe boil the water, start your timer, and then again just add the noodles to the pot. Follow this step-by-step guide on the same time, and before even your noodles are cooked, your Copilot agent will be ready. We just have seen that with the SharePoint agent right now, but we are going to also see that from the Microsoft 365 Teams toolkit as well. And this is the bonus tip, like when your noodles are getting cool, even explore the other exciting ways that your Copilot agent can supercharge the productivity. All right, so it is much faster than slurping your noodles. Okay, so with that, let's get into the demo and see how we will be able to do that. So right now, I'm inside of my Visual Studio Code, and we have already installed something called as Microsoft Teams Toolkit, which is available as an extension inside Visual Studio Code. So let me just show it to you. So this is the Teams Toolkit that we have got available as an extension in Visual Studio Code. So you will just have to install that. Once that Teams Toolkit has been installed, you will be able to access it from here. Here we do have a option to build declarative agent. So maybe this is very good documentation giving the introduction, how to set up your environment, how to build declarative agents, how to preview that, how to improve, as well as various resources which are available. So what we are going to do is that we will start by creating a new app. We are going to create a declarative agent. So we'll select that. For example, if you have got, if you want to probably add any action, probably you can select the second one. We are going with no action kind of a thing. We will browse to the uh, folder wherein we want to store that. So let's say, for example, SPO resume agent. Okay, so and I will just call it as a SPO resume agent. Okay, so let me just tell you the story behind this Copilot that or the agent that we are going to build here. We do have various resumes which are stored here, and our HR is looking out for the right candidate based on these resumes. The challenge here is that all these resumes are in various languages, not all of them are English. So here you can see that this one is in English, but if I open up the other one, probably those are maybe non-English as well. Okay, so this is the challenge that we have got lot many resumes which may not have the same format. At the same time, they are not in a one language which is English. Okay, so here is the challenge, and here is how we'll be able to tackle that challenge. So first thing, this is how the experience will look like when you will create your first declarative agent. Right now, nothing is here. We do have some environment files. We do have a app package, and that's it. App package is the one that we are going to work with. First thing, we will start with this manifestation, and here you can see that this is the ID, developer, icons, name, and everything. So this is nothing but the manifest for showing this functionality into the Microsoft Teams or into the Copilot as well. Secondly, we do have few images here which will be available for your Copilot. These are the two images with which it will be shown. And here we do have the instructions. So instructions, nothing but like what this particular Copilot should do. Okay, so these are the instructions that we want to um, use to define the behavior for our agent. This is the main file that we have got, which is the declarative agent.json. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to call this particular agent as a career genie, because this is the agent which will help us to give the information about various matching profiles. So for that reason, again, we will give it a good description saying that, okay, we want this. So this is a kind of a declarative agent that finds matching profiles. The instructions are from this instruction file. So probably here you can say like you are a friendly AI assistant who helps to find the matching profiles and everything. You can do all those things. Probably for this demo, I will keep it very simple, but you can do that as well. Now that this is the place where we need to add some capabilities to this agent. So we know that our information is in SharePoint, this particular library, how to use that. So here we have some special provision called as capabilities. So these capabilities will help us to add more capabilities to our Copilot. So here we can have few capabilities like web search, or even we do have code interpreter, graph connector, graphic art, OneDrive, and SharePoint, as well as web search. So in this purpose, we are just going to use OneDrive and SharePoint because we know that our data is in SharePoint. Now that we need to make sure that we are pointing this particular agent to the correct URL. So for that, we will just say items by URL. For example, if you have items by your SharePoint IDs, you can do that, or we will simply go for items by URL. And here we can specify multiple SharePoint site URLs with which we want to use for this particular agent. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I will again go back here and I will copy this um, resumes folder or document libraries. Okay, so this is the document library that we have got where we have got all the resumes, and that's it. Our Copilot is ready. So now that we want to use this Copilot, how we can do that? We can again go back to the Teams toolkit and we can simply click on provision here. Okay, so once you click on provision, you will be able to see how the provisioning is happening. These are five steps in which the provision happens. First thing, it validates everything, then it packages that. So these are five actions that you will see. Firstly is creating the Teams app. Secondly, it will build that Teams app package. It will validate the Teams app. The fourth step that it is updating the Teams app, and then it is acquiring the Microsoft 365 title with the apps package. And that's it. Our Copilot is pretty much ready. So with that, let me again come back to the Microsoft 365 portal, go into the Copilot, and from here, if everything goes well, we should be able to see the career journey here. Okay, so this is our career journey, which is the declarative agent, and probably we can ask like, give me or maybe suggest me profiles or candidates with Python experience. Okay, even I'm not very much sure. Do I have the Python resumes in that resumes folder? But let us see. But this is the place from where you can see that again citation part, which I was talking about, and we do have Rentana Hall, which should be one of our candidate. For example, okay, if I go for RRR here, okay. So if I in case I open it up, this is our Python candidate. Okay, so here we should have somewhere Python. Okay, so this is our Python candidate. So what is happening right now is that we have made our agent aware that there are some resumes available inside of this portal, inside of this document library, which is in SharePoint, and then go ahead, get those resumes for us. We did not write a single line of code, and that is where the declarative power of these agents come into the picture. So, for example, if I again revise what we had done so far, is just that we have created this declarative agent, we have named that, and in the capabilities we just have added a single SharePoint site URL pointing to our resumes document library, which contains all the resumes, and that's it. When we have it deployed, it is giving us the entire information from that document library. Okay, and here is the citation which gives the confidence to our HR, saying that these are the resumes which are validated resumes which are coming from that resumes folder. So how this one will help your HR is that they don't have to go through all of the resumes to find the information, because let's say even you might think that you probably we can use the search functionality from the SharePoint, but even as of today, searches in SharePoint are pretty much limited. SharePoint only supports the keyword search, but when it comes to the semantic index, we do not have that functionality yet available into SharePoint. So that is where these agents will be more effective, and using that, we'll be able to create this kind of an experience. All right, so hopefully that demo excites you, and then probably you will try to create more and more of such copilots before even your noodles are ready. All right. Okay, so with that, let's move next and then talk about the other options that we have got.
Okay, so the next thing is we are going to check this Microsoft Copilot Studio for the SharePoint agents with these documents. So first I would like to show you architect of this diagram. So there is a architect diagram with the overview of this technical implementation. So this is the sample for the integration of the Copilot Studio into an enterprise scenario. So let's take an example of this Market Travels, a travel agency providing a city exploration and a hotel accommodation services. So how does this solution work? So the Copilot Studio as the AI engine. So at the core of this solution in Copilot Studio, which generates the intelligent responses based on the user queries. So it leverages the data from the different sources to provide a travel related information dynamically. So data source over here we have considered as a SharePoint, the AI assistant that pulls the structured and unstructured data from the SharePoint, ensuring that the users get the relevant and up to date information. So this could include can be include the hotel listing, city guides, as well as the travel policy. Then the monthly channel deployment. So the Copilot generated the responses are surfaced across the multiple challenges. For example, the intranet, Microsoft Teams, as well as the website. So why this is very much important? Because it automates the service. Customer service reduces the manual workload by answering the FAQ instantly, ensures data accuracy, the pulls the real-time data from the SharePoint, enhances the accessibility, so provide information across the different platforms seamlessly. So this architecture shows how this Copilot Studio can be leveraged to create AI-powered business solutions that improve the efficiency, reduce the response time, as well as enhance the user experience. So the next we can just see this is the document library where we have store all of the documents. So now the next what we can do, we can just create a Copilot in a Microsoft Copilot Studio. So first you have to go to that Copilot Studio, and then from there you can just create a new one. Okay, so once you clicked on the create, I have already created the new one, but I will just quickly guide you from this one. What are the things you will able to see over here? So from here, you can just create a new agent. And once you clicked on that creation, then you can just skip to the configuration, and from here you can just provide a agent name, you can just change this icon, you can provide a description, for example whatever this exactly the agent is for. Then you can just provide the instructions, direct the behaviors of the agents, and then the knowledge, that means the source you can just select from here. So from here you can just say that the public website, the SharePoint, as well as the dataverse, and you can upload some of the files. So the advantage of using the SharePoint, that for example, whenever the data gets changed, then it will track that one. And for example, if you are uploading some of your files, then what will happen? That whatever the data available inside that file, it will show you that only. So what is the next thing is you have to add this SharePoint as a knowledge source in our case. So once you are done with this one, then you will able to see like this one. This is the agent that we have created, and here you can see the knowledge, that is the travel brochure, that is one document library, and the URL is available over here. Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's check and test this one. Okay, so I'm just giving one prompt over here. Suggest a hotel in Dubai, and let's see what is the details it just give us. So it should fetch all the details from this travel brochure document library, and it will share the details with us with all the citation. Now you can see it has successfully run that result, and it has successfully shows that is the one reference, and the reference is taking us to that particular document library. Okay. So next thing is that once you are done with this one, then you have to set up this Microsoft Intra app registration. So as we need to enable the SharePoint site as one of the source of our generative answer, we could need to enable this authentication for our Copilot. So for that, you have to go this app registration, and then you can just create a new registration, or if you have already registration, then you can use that one also. Okay. So the next thing that you have to do this, add your redirect URI. So when creating an agent in Copilot Studio, adding the redirect URI, for example, this one in this authentication portal is very crucial for the reasons like, for example, OAuth authentication flow. The redirects URI is a critical part of the OAuth redirection process. The token exchange, the Copilot agent needs to retrieve and validate the authentication tokens. Okay, then the bot framework capability, and for the seamless authentication experience. So once it is done, the next step is we have to generate this client secret. So you can just generate a new one. If you have an existing one, you can use that one. The another thing over here you have to use is the API permission. So we have used these 4 API permissions over here. So you can just go and just you can just add the API permissions also over here. Yeah, from and then here you can see authenticate, that we are just saying that for the previous steps that okay, that the authenticate manually, then in that case you have to provide all the details whatever the client ID and client secret you have generated. Okay, so the next thing where you have to provide this API permissions also.
All right, so that is how the Copilot Studio works with documents. So now that, let's say, for example, if you have some information into the list format, then in that case, how does it work? So for that, let me again go back to my SharePoint site. Let me go into the site contents. And here we do have some list which contains the information about the policy guides. Okay, so once I go into the policy guides, here you can see we do have title of that policy, for example, attendance policy or remote work policy. We do have some content explaining or describing that policy. And again, we do have the content location from where user will be able to read out more information about that policy. Now that, for example, when we have data in the form of list like this, how we'll be able to use that into our Copilot Studio, because this is not a directly unstructured kind of a data onto which we'll be able to build the index or add it as a knowledge source that we have done in the previous section. All right, so to do that, again, I do have a pre-created demo just to save the time because it also involves creating the Power Automate flow. So I have pre-created that demo. So let me just walk you through that. So the thing that we are going to do here is that we are going to use the information from this list and then use it to search purpose into our Copilot. So now that let me go into the policy guides agent, and then what we are going to do is that first let me just show you how this one works. So I will also enable the track between the topics, and I will just ask the question like, um, okay, so give me a remote work policy, okay, or maybe tell me about remote work policy. All right, so hopefully demo goes well. We should be able to see that answer, but let us see. Okay, so now that here you can see that it has went to the conversational boosting where all of our customization lies into, and it should, okay, so the demo code is with me today. So here you can see that we are able to get that reference of the remote work policy, which is defined into our SharePoint list. So how this is working into the background. So here you can see that we have customized everything for the conversational boosting. So once you go into the topics under the system, system kind of an topics, we have got something called as conversational boosting. In the conversational boosting, what we are doing is that when there will be any topic which comes under this policy, we have created this Power Automate flow, which will help us to get the user intention about what the user wants to know from that. So let me just go into the edit of this and I can explain it to you. So here, let's say for example, when the question is about tell me about remote work policy, so that means user is pretty much interested about getting the remote work policy. So this is the intent of the user that we need to look into. So for that, we are using this create text with GPT using a prompt, and then the entity to be extracted is a policy. That's the reason the output of this we should be able to get it as a JSON format, which includes the entire sentence with the name of the policy. Once we get that policy name, we get all of the entries from those items, and then again we use the select method on top of that to only select the value which is matching that policy. So probably I will not go into the very details of explaining all those variables and everything, but from here we again pass that particular JSON and we pass the value back about what is there here, and then from there we show the information to the users into this kind of a format. So here you can see how this is work, and then this is the logic which is behind that, and these are the simplistic kind of a thing with which it works. For example, if I want to again go into the topics and probably if I can edit that for you, probably just wanted to show you even for example if you have the AI capabilities, how you will be able to do that. So here you can see that I do have the custom data, but if I go into the properties of this, so from here, you can see that you can add a knowledge from here as well. So let's say, for example, so you want to add the public website, SharePoint or Dataverse, you will be able to do that. And now that, for example, if you go into the advanced section of this, or maybe if you go for the classic data part of it, here you do have those public websites or SharePoint. And here, this is the option to also use the Azure OpenAI service on your data. So for example, if you have created Azure OpenAI service, you will be able to add the connection from there and then use the power of semantic indexing into this Copilot agents. For this particular demonstration, we have used this custom data. so that this custom data, which is in the form of title, description, and then the content title, we are able to see that. And that's the reason it processes that information and show it onto our Copilot. So this is how the information will look like. All right, so I guess we are a bit overdue onto the time, but I guess this session helps you to create the copilots or create the agents using SharePoint data that you have got. So you can create either declarative agents or agents using the Teams toolkit or agents using Microsoft Copilot Studio, which can work with your documents as well as work with your list. All right. So with that, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And if in case you want to take this discussion ahead, please uh, connect with us onto the LinkedIn or Twitter, and then we'll be more than happy to discuss this further. So thank you very much for attending us today, and wishing you good time with this. All right. So thank you very much, and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you
Back
for
to
the
you, Tycho.
opportunity.